living from our heart, living from our core, living from our power. We all get more. We are powerful women.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Heart Whispers Summit. As you know, I'm Sue Erda. I'm the publisher here at Powerful You Publishing and one of the grateful hosts for this event. I love presenting these amazing women to you, the 20 authors of Heart Whispers that is coming out on June 22nd. And today we're going to be talking with Nicole Carey. I love her topic because this is important, right? The real secret to happiness, awakening source connection, a quieted mind, and free will. Because I love this topic. This is great. So Nicole, here we go. We're going to start talking with you. However, I'm going to read a brief bio and then hear from you. Nicole Carey is an award-winning business executive with nearly 30 years working and leading teams within government, nonprofit, and for-profit agencies. She currently serves as a chief strategy officer specializing in government management and strategic advisory services. She is an intrepid life navigator, seeker of truth, awakening channel, and trailblazer, trying to discover a better pathway to source-connected living and business success. She is a business and empowerment coach and mentor, committed to helping all people, especially women, thrive and find their version of happiness and all things like it. And Nicole, I'm so happy to welcome you today. How are you?
Thank you so much, Sue. I'm so happy to be here today. It's a pleasure to be here and be able to share some information with you.
Yeah, this is great. Yes, wonderful. So let's start like we usually do with our authors. Tell us a little bit about your personal journey and how it led you to where you are today.
Well, you know, it's interesting because I probably have a similar journey that a lot of people have. You know, you go through life, you're basically in the rat race, you're basically trying to get through everyday life, you know, surviving, making it through each day, hoping the weekend you get to the weekend. And I found myself really surviving more than thriving. And I got to a point, like a lot of people do in my life, I was like, is this it? Is this like, I supposedly had all the things I was supposed to have in life. I had a family, I had a good job, I had a house and cars, and I had a child, and I had dogs and things, and I went on vacations. And yet I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel like whole. You know, we talk about living in and through our heart, like I didn't feel like fully connected inside of myself and in my heart. And when that happened, I started to seek. I started to read books. I was naturally a seeker of information. And I am also a seeker of truth. So I thought that I could read more books. The more I could read, the more I could learn, the more I would have some sense of like what the answer might be. But the more intellectual books I read, there just wasn't the answer for me. And then I was exposed kind of to a series of not great things in my life. Right. I ended up having a miscarriage. I had some negative experiences in my life, and I was like, what is happening to me? And that's when I kind of started to crack open. And I started to question the nature of my purpose in life, God, existence, all those things that people think about. And even though I wasn't really a spiritual person, I was more of a kind of a conventional overachiever, perfectionist type person. I started to ask questions like, why are we all here? What am I doing? What's my purpose? How can things be different? And I started to read some spiritual books and literature, and I started to talk to people who were clairvoyants and Reiki masters, and started to kind of follow that path. And I found myself on a journey that has lasted more than 20 years. And it's been a winding road, I should say. And it hasn't been linear, right? It's like, I wish I could say that I had this journey where all of a sudden I had this spiritual enlightenment and I had this easy button, and all of a sudden I became, one with the universe. That's not how it's been. But what I have done along the journey is I've learned a great many life lessons, and I've come to a place of I don't have to make life as hard as I've made it. I think we all make life way too hard on ourselves. We're way too hard on the fact that we are imperfect beings. And And through all that, I've come to a much happier place, I'd say.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's so funny. We all want the easy button, right? The Staples presented to us, right? That easy button that you could buy. I would love one of those. I can't tell you, I have yet to interview in more than 500 interviews. I've never interviewed anybody said, oh yes, my life went from here to here and it was perfect. Nobody. It just doesn't work that way. So you're with all of us in that. I love that. And you've had a lot of life experience, rich life experience through your work career, through your personal life. With all the people that you have worked with and that you've known, would you say that there's some kind of common obstacle or some kind of roadblock that lots and lots of people are facing?
It's interesting. There's a lot of things that we all experience. We all experience fear, shame, worry, anger, grief, belittlement. But I think it all comes down to, and if we're really being honest, or at least I'm being honest about myself, it comes down to a lack of a feeling of unworthiness, and not being worth the trouble, worth being valued, worth being loved, worth being supported. And because of that, we experience fear, shame, self-loathing, disappointment. And I think if we can begin to recognize our worth, simply for the fact that we're here in this world as sentient beings, as human beings, it actually can go a long way in helping to find the key to happiness.
Yeah, I like that too. So what would you give somebody listening and they're thinking, well, yeah, maybe I don't feel like I deserve good in my life, or I don't feel worthy to have that in my life. What would you say to tell them is something they can do to start feeling that way about themselves?
What's really interesting is that I used to have all these feelings about, oh God, I just a lot of self-loathing, and I'd be lying if I didn't say I sometimes still have them, right? But one of the things I realized, I was doing a lot of reading around the law of attraction, and one of the things that I heard was that what is a belief, right? If you have a belief that something is wrong or bad, or that you don't like something about yourself, a belief is just a thought you've had over and over and over again, right? And then when you have a belief and it's tied with an emotion, some type of emotion that you've attached to it, that makes it really strong. And if you can begin to recognize that the beliefs that you hold, often the negative ones, are things that are not really true, but there's something that you've made up because it's something you've had in your head over and over again, like a hamster wheel going over and around. There's a doorway or an opening to potentially say, you know what if I thought about things differently? What if I just changed my thought? What if I attached a different emotion to that thought? What if I ignored the negative thought and just thought about something that made me happy, that made me feel joyful, that made me feel giggly or laughter inside? That might be a little bit better. And when I started to recognize that simple act, I was able to start changing my thinking and my thought patterns.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. That's right. It's a thought. We can change our thoughts. It's okay. We can do that little by little. I like that. So you and I have talked before, Nicole, and you, I know, believe that connections with your higher self and your guide team are really, really important. They're the key, really, to living well in your life and perhaps being happy. Can you elaborate on that? And what do you mean by that? Who's a guide team? Like, what do you mean?
So, we all have intuition, right? Whether you know it or not, we have that gut feeling inside of us. And sometimes it seems kind of strange. You might be like, don't go in that direction, go in this direction. Or you might meet someone and go, that doesn't feel right. And we think it's just kind of our mind, that may be playing a trick on us. But the reality is that we are all sentient beings. We are all source connected beings. And that connection is really a connection with our higher self. People often talk about the idea that we are not just physical beings. We are actually non-physical beings having a human experience, having a physical experience. And if you understand that view of the world, that maybe we are more than just this body that we're in, then you can get a sense that, maybe that we are connected to something greater than what this thing is that we call a body. And knowing that, you begin to open up to what I would call that higher self, that intuition. And what's interesting is that in the past year or so, I've been a student actually of a woman by the name of Carol Collins, and she's a trans channel for the Jesuit Collective. And what's interesting is that what I've come to recognize is that intuition and that knowingness that I've had for years that has allowed me to be so good in business and to make decisions. Like, I just know, like, I can be in a situation in business and just know what needs to be done. I know what the solution is. And people go like, well, how do you know that? I just know it. Well, it's because, I have been, at least I've tried over the years to work and connect into this higher intelligence. And what I didn't realize is that each and every one of us, we actually have a non-physical support structure that is waiting for us to basically listen to it. And one of the things that I've been trying to do, and I'm a student of doing, is learning how to connect into that higher intelligence and that support system of non-physical beings. It's your inner guidance system that can help us basically live our life in a much more intentional, joyful, positive, productive way.
I love that. So, and I agree with you, and I've had those experiences too, and it's absolutely wonderful. And the woman you're mentioning, Carol Collins, she actually wrote the foreword for this book too. So I love that our listeners will also get to meet Carol through the book. So that's great. So, your title today is talking about the real secret to happiness. Let's talk about happiness. What is the number one thing people can do if they want to tap into greater happiness and feel more empowered in their own lives?
This is going to sound strange, and it's something that I resisted for a number of years. Throughout kind of my life and in kind of my spiritual journey, I've listened to I've done mantras, I've listened to spiritual music, I've changed my diet, I've gone to healers, I've chanted, I've done I've done everything, right? But the thing that actually the easiest thing to do that I resisted for, let's just say, 20 something years was really meditate. And you know what? And it really is, if the key to happiness is really what I would call a soft, quieted mind. And it's very hard to do because most of us have a hamster wheel running around their head. You try to meditate, you think about trying to meditate, and you're thinking about your laundry list and your to-do list, and you think about, oh wait, did I turn off that stove? Did I do this? But what I've come to realize and I've learned is that it doesn't have to be this long, drawn out, hours long meditation session. I started off doing 5 minutes of meditation a day. And all I started to do is to listen to my breath and listen to there's like a whirling sound often in your inner ear. I started to do that over time. And I went from 5 minutes to 6 minutes. And then I just went to 12 minutes. And what I have been taught is that if you just do 12 minutes of quieted meditation a day, it can exponentially open up your connection with source, your higher self, and with your own intuition. And you know what? It's the darndest thing. It worked. And this is coming from somebody who literally was like, there is no way in heck that I'm going to be able to do this. And once I finally started to do this, it really, I found my inner connection, and my level of positivity and happiness has exploded. The things that used to aggravate me and make me angry, I'm not angry about anymore. I'm calmer. Even my daughter, who says that I used to swear in the car when I would drive, I don't swear as much. I'm a softer person. I'm more at ease. And it's literally 12 minutes of meditation a day. And again, it's changed my world, really.
I love that. 12 minutes. We can probably all find 12 minutes. So that's a great thing. I love that. So, it sounds like to me, Nicole, that you are on the right path for you. Like, you seem like you're guided, you're following it, all of that. How can somebody know if they are on the right path for themselves?
I think when you begin to meditate, you begin to have a connection to that inner knowingness, that intuitive nature of kind of like, what should I be doing? I also learned the art of the pendulum. And I know it's kind of strange, and you see these things and it's like, well, what is a pendulum? And it just swings back and forth. But what I realize is that when you use a pendulum correctly, you can ask very simple yes and no questions. And you can actually say things like, am I making the right decision on whether or not I should, date this person, right? Or should I go into business with this person? Or it could be, is this healer the right person to speak with about my relationships? And what I found is that using the pendulum, it basically, there is a spiral of energy that basically comes down. It's source energy that works its way through your arm. And basically it will give you some guidance. Now, there are obviously some rules around it. You don't want to do it when you're really over attached to the answer, or if you're feeling really agitated about it. But if you can kind of use a pendulum in a calm place and use it in a stationary, when you're like, use your arm, hold it on something stationary, I've actually been miraculously surprised at how accurate it's been. And I also think, you know, the more that you meditate, the more quieted that you can get and kind of just be like, trust yourself, right? You'll come up with the answers. You know, one of my greatest deficits has been the fact that I used to think I was spiritually stunted, you know, in the sense that I would talk to healers and clairvoyants, and I felt like I needed to use these people because, and I would be asking questions like, why, like, what do I need to do? Why is this happening to me? I don't understand. And, you know, and I did all that because I had no belief in myself, that I had an inner capacity to connect with my higher self. I didn't trust my own intuition. You know, you feel tingles in your body, you know things, but I didn't trust myself. And I think so many of us doubt our own inner abilities. We don't believe that we can have what other people have spiritually. And the thing that I really have now is that I'm trusting myself. I'm believing in myself in a way, and I recognize that there is nobody that really is going to have to know what I want more than me, right? And why I am a student of kind of Carol Collins still, and why I use and I speak with the collective is because they help validate the direction, the inner knowingness that I have inside of myself, right? And so I'm being taught, I use this analogy, you know, often I would go to spiritual people because they were feeding me a fish. I needed a fish, right? And now I'm learning how to fish, right? And I'm myself so that I can basically do things myself. And what's really amazing is that each and every one of us, it doesn't matter your background, where you're from, your age, we all have this inner capacity that we just don't recognize. And so I have become, as a businesswoman, I'm like the Pied Piper of like, empower yourself. You can be in the driver's seat of your own spiritual development. And listen, if I can do it, anybody can do it, because let me tell you, like, I really do, like, for years, I thought I was pretty much like, it wasn't going to happen for me. And since I've kind of developed a faith in myself, a belief in myself, my spiritual abilities have kind of exponentially increased. So it's super exciting.
I love that. I love that. It sounds like it makes you happy. Is that true?
Oh my God. I'm so much happier. If you talk to my daughter, she kind of gets, she's 17, right? So she gets a little annoyed with me. She's like, why are you so happy? You know, for the first time in my life, I feel like I have the keys and the answer to my own basically enlightenment in my body, right? I can be this person in this life. I can be a business person. I can be a girlfriend or a partner. I can be a mother, and I can be in more joy. And I don't have to rely on anybody else, but kind of my own interconnection with source energy and my guide team, and with my own understanding of what I believe and how I feel about it. And that is, it's amazing.
I love it. And if your 17-year-old daughter recognizes you're happy, you know you're a happy woman.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nicole. This has been great. I appreciate you. I know that there are people listening that will want to stay connected with you. How can they do that?
Well, I have a website, NicoleCCarey.com. And my email is NicoleCCarey@gmail.com. While I do have my day job, I'm a business person. You know, what I'm really committed to is to helping other people, particularly people who are entrepreneurs and who are in the business world, and kind of trying to make their way and navigate their role, and women in particular, to help them understand that they can actually live and have a job and be successful, but also be source connected. Right. And also be in a level of joy that isn't going to lead to burnout and feelings of kind of lack and disempowerment.
I love it. Love it. Thank you so much. I love your story in the book too, Nicole. I read all of the stories in the book. I love your chapter. It's really wonderful. Thank you so much for being a part of this whole collaboration. Thanks for today. It was great. I feel happier having talked to you. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. It's been fun. Thanks.
Terrific. And listeners, thank you. Please continue to listen to this summit. Everybody, as you notice, every single author has amazing tips and thoughts for you about how you can really kind of up-level your life in a way, get more connected, listen more closely to those heart whispers. So continue to listen to the summit. Buy this book on launch day, June 22nd. Come to our website that day, heartwhispersbook.com. We will guide you to the appropriate Amazon link for your country. You will get a 99-cent Kindle book on Amazon that day. And then once you buy that Kindle book, it's a special launch price, by the way. Buy that Kindle book on launch day, come back to our website with your Amazon receipt number, plug it in, and you'll have access to more than 40 gifts from our authors and partners. And this is great stuff, free meditations, free downloads, free ebooks, lists, reports, wonderful, wonderful stuff. So you definitely want to do that on launch day. And in the meantime, I wish you all a beautiful, wonderful day. Listen to your heart, follow it. It'll make you happier. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.